rumored that Ultraman, which is Superman's villainous counterpart from a alternate reality, I can't remember which Earth it
I
is.
think 3.
Three, yeah, either three or one. I might be confusing one or the other. But is supposed to be appearing in Superman. And the kicker is that David Cornsweth, yes, Superman himself, will be playing Ultraman as well. So, gentlemen, are we excited for the possibility that he's going to be playing technically three characters in one movie if you count Kent, Clark Kent, Superman, and then Ultraman?
I've been waiting for Spider Brando's reaction on this.
One, I have a funny story about this. So I had seen this on April Fool's Day, and the tweet was just like, "Oh, David Cornsweet to play Clark Kent and Superman in Superman," and I'm like, "No shit! Like, it's obviously he's Clark Kent is Superman. It's like saying Tom Holland plays Peter Parker and Spider-Man." But like nowhere in the tweet mentioned Ultraman or like a different counterpart to it, and it was just like two Superman. Or it was just the weird worded tweet, and I thought it was the biggest April Fool's joke of all time. And then you actually sent this like 2 days later, or no, today's 2 days later. You actually sent this from like an actual article, and I'm like, oh shit, I should have believed it. I'm very excited for it because I've been reading this book for like weeks and I should have been done with it by now, but life. I have just gotten to a part where it introduced other variant Supermans from other worlds. And I didn't know Superman stories dealt like with time travel or multiversal or him kind of like knowing there's other Supermen out there and all this shit. So this gets me hype. I'm super excited for it. I've been enjoying. I don't want to go into the deep dive too much, but I have been very much enjoying learning all this Superman lore and stuff through this book. I'm just gonna leave it at that. And excited for Ultraman and learning more of how David Cornsweet could play, how he could shine with playing multiple characters, but the same character, essentially.
I have 2 quick points to this of why I think it's actually a really, really, really good idea. Because what Rome's is saying is kind of my first reaction. I think we kind of touched on this leading up to like what can make the DCU different from the MCU. Where did the MCU go wrong? Where's the DCU going to fix what happened for the sins of the first 2 attempts at this expanded cinematic universe, right? And a lot of it comes into the multiverse stuff. And the interesting part, I think it's very similar, and it's funny that both of these movies are going to be kind of falling around the same time frame. Like with the Fantastic Four, they don't have as much time to establish their characters as one might think. And the same goes for Superman, not only because we have to establish a new Superman, move past Henry Cavill, but also create a foundation for the DCU itself. What better way to keep your Superman, this one central, sacred timeline like Superman, what a way to establish him than to have Clark Kent humanize this character, make it relatable to us, have his secret identity be Superman, let him do all of his super stuff and make his character feel super, but then also give us the extreme opposite of Superman to double down on how good and wholesome and just fantastic that the Superman that they may portray is going to be. And I think it'll keep fans in lanes to make Superman feel more dynamic than he probably ever has in live action, and for a lot of people who will be newly exposed to the Superman character. So I think this is a great way to showcase a version 1 of David Cornsweet's Superman. And Bromes, I will agree. It's hard to do proper Ultraman, but I am in the camp that 99% of people who see Ultraman will be like, is that Bizarro? Is that like, I think there's another like they're not gonna know. I don't think most people will know.
You brought up Bizarro, and I just got introduced to Ziboro.
Oh, the whole squad.
Yeah, the Zaro squad is great. Here's the thing. I think it's a good idea if done right. Right. Obviously, everything is a good idea if you do it right. But you can tell two stories at once with the focus still being on the actual Clark Kent that we know and love. And what they could really do if they really want to blow people's minds is you have the movie play out, right? Let's say the movie is 2 hours, right? 2 hours, 10 minutes. You have the movie play out. David Cornsmith's Superman is, standing tall. He goes home to Lois if they're with Lois, or he goes on a date with her, right? And he goes to sleep. And then he wakes up. And then the final 10 minutes picks up after him waking up. But things are kind of in a very eerie feeling. And then at the end of it, he puts on his Ultraman costume and he's basically a dictator. Damn. That transition, without giving it a hard transition, would blow people's minds. And I think it's the perfect opportunity to do a crime syndicate story, but also a pseudo injustice story without having to do injustice. Because we're kind of at a point where just your basic evil Superman, it's done. It's been done. Homelander's out. Omni-Man is out. A evil Superman no longer is a novelty, right? It hasn't been since Injustice came out. But if you give us one where we see their stories play out at the same time and see the differences, maybe some of the challenges they go through, and make people care about Ultraman as much as they care about Superman, and then you have them clash up at the end with the Justice League against the crime syndicate, that's your big showdown. It's a first in the sense that, yeah, it might not be the first multiverse story, but it's the first good team versus evil mirrored version team. It's basically your Avengers versus Dark Avengers, and you beat them to it.
Yeah.
They could do a very cool story with this.
Yeah. Cool. It'll be interesting and dynamic enough to where I think it'll move far beyond everyone being like, well, for every Flash, there's a reverse Flash, and why does every character have their first big thing be with someone who's like their powers? It can get really interesting. And that, in my opinion, sounds fantastic. Like, really good.
And if they really want to, if they want to leverage, which it seems like James Gunn is doing, if they want to leverage other projects, but not only other projects, but like TV, give Ultraman either his own project on like a Max or a series where we follow him close and see either his rise or how he, brings up the crime syndicate. It really humanizes him. And then you care about him. Yeah. And you want to see that matchup. You want to see them fight, and you want to see them duke it out, versus it just being, oh, evil Superman's here. Let's go fight evil Superman.
Yep. It just goes back to, in my opinion, kind of taking the foundations of those shonen anime level characters that are extremely influential to whoever their adversary is, and those core. That's what they can do here. They can really establish for the first time, I think, ever, a very morally grounded and extremely strong Superman. That will be that character that goes up on people's walls of like, you're just goated. Like, that you're just goated. I like that. I like that a lot.
Let James Gunn cook, baby.
Oh yeah.
He needs James Gunn
hard. Cook. And he will.
Morality, duality. Can I get that?
Morality, duality.
We love it.